Trump, I know you control the nukes, and that makes me want to puke. Yeah, Donald Trump, I know you got a hairpiece, but peace is one thing we won't ever get in the Middle East, as long as you're not in the East, but the West Wing of the Oval Office, because you're awful and you're a novice at being president. Yeah, bars.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Reasons you're a horrible candidate for 2020, because you ain't got 2020 vision on how to steer this country right, because you're far right.
Woke up in the Oval Office like I was Michael Scott. Roll papers like done in this one. Played a little solution. You're like a president that was traded with Ronald Reagan with Venezuela. And he was so good. But you're not.
Yo, we respect our troops.
I stand for the flag while you stand at the Gulag.
Oh! You say...
I support the troops while you party at Cahoots.
Oh! You say you want to build a wall. That's because you're 3 feet tall. Morally. Mic drop. Woohoo! What's up, everybody? It is your PodBois for the week. We had a little special present for you guys in the cold open this week. It's been an interesting week. Guys, first and foremost, Eminem. That's kind of the inspiration for our cold open.
So, he roasted Trump without a beat, so we thought we could roast him better with a beat.
Yeah. And it turns out when you put a beat behind the Eminem roast, it actually is a lot better, because me and Ryan both kind of agreed that acapella sounded kind of awkward.
Yeah. Acapella, word.
Nah, they're dumb. It was freaking hard AF.
Okay, but we'll talk more about that later.
Toasted his buns.
We'll talk more about that later, but I just want it to be known that if you listened to the cold open and thought that it was good, well, we literally just said some words and then put a beat behind it, and the drops fit perfect. So.
Before we did the beat, it was by far the worst thing I'd done all week. And
I didn't even I literally just started out with the bank account thing and just saying numbers and then dropped the ball as soon as I finished.
Savannah, you're too hard on yourself. You went hard, man. You went hard.
You got us all together.
I literally just counted to 8.
That's okay.
But it pulled it together.
What do you think 21 did?
Yeah.
Alright.
At least he has 8 figures in his bank account. Or 8 millions or whatever he says.
What, why you got a 12-car garage, but you only got 15 cars.
Yep. Shout out Nickelback. The greatest, worst band of all time.
Okay, so what do we got this week, Ryan?
Alright, so we've, like always, we got college football games, and I think we all know who the top team is, even though they're number 6 in the polls. We got number 6 TCU at K-State. Who y'all got?
Who cares?
Ooh.
Okay, TCU's obviously going to win this, or they deserve to drop off the top 25 list.
Hey, so, it's the battle of the irrelevant teams with the color purple as their main color. So,
It's a roast session on TCU.
It's a battle of coaches better than Butch Jones.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Sidebar.
No, seriously. Alright, go ahead.
Okay. They've been talking about TCU's head coach possibly being the one to come coach Tennessee if they offered him the right amount of money.
I just can't see it happening.
I think it would be hard to get him to leave.
We'll talk more about that later, but it's not going to happen.
We're
He's
not
staying.
talking
We
about
built
it
him
right
a
now.
statue.
Yeah, why can't we talk about it now?
I don't know. We can. I just had a whole section about roasting Butch Jones.
Oh, well, I mean, don't worry.
Whatever.
We can do that, too.
That will be incorporated in
Yeah.
this talk.
Okay.
So, as far as the game is concerned, I think obviously TCU. I don't know. I mean, KSU, though. Dan Snyder's still alive, I presume.
Bill
right?
Snyder.
Did I say Dan?
Yeah.
Who's Dan Snyder? I don't even
I
know.
think that's the owner of the Redskins.
Oh. I mean, he's still alive, too, but...
Whatever.
Or is he?
But, Bill Snyder, he's a good coach, man. You never know.
He's lit. And he's, I thought he's like 90. Turns out he's only like 78.
He looks a
Same
lot
difference,
older.
though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since y'all want to talk about Tennessee so bad, we got USC at Tennessee this week. Who y'all think's gonna win, and what's gonna happen post game?
Is that South Carolina?
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Well, I know that we're not starting Doherty, so he's mad and talking about leaving Tennessee, which I don't really get because, he's been throwing like garbage. So you got to expect for him to start somebody else. And maybe you want to leave at the end of the season. I think it's a tool move to leave mid-season for anybody.
Yeah, that's kind of I feel like that's sort of the natural result of like this culture, where for good or bad, like college quarterbacks can really transfer for any reason, like at any time, basically. So it's almost like the free agent system in the NFL. Like there's not a whole lot of limitation on it, and there's not a whole lot of downside in doing it.
I don't know how school-wise, how do you do that? How do you transfer? Do you take half of your classes at this university and then finish those same classes at the university you transfer to?
I mean,
I don't think they're worried about playing.
I was
school.
gonna say it not. Yeah, we ain't come here to play school.
Let's not discount the education system, but I think that's the least of their worries is where they're going to school at.
Right, but regardless, Dormady thinking about maybe transferring, which whatever,
I
man.
won't be like sad if he does.
I mean,
but
good for
Dude, he
him,
looks
man.
like Superman.
Yeah.
But anyways, I actually, working at Nike, I actually checked out Jawan Jennings the other day.
Shout out Jawan
Nike.
Jennings.
And any Tennessee fans, he's still in the cast, but he said maybe a couple more weeks he'll be ready to catch Hail Marys in the end zone.
We might need it.
But
we will need it if we want a 50-50 season.
Yeah, I don't know that we can beat South Carolina.
I will say it's a little bit shady that he was wearing a yellow cast. Does that mean he's maybe not a fan of the orange and going to Missouri?
Guys,
Could happen.
Jawan Jennings to Georgia Tech. You heard it here first.
Hey, Calvin Johnson took that path. Anyway, that's a perfect segue because we got Georgia Tech at number 11 Miami.
Perfect segue.
Wow, there you go. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a segue.
Never heard that word used before. I thought a segue's what like Paul Blart wrote on.
I mean, it is, but not in this.
What the hell? I'm 20 years old and I'm just now learning this
Okay,
word.
we'll segue into
You've really never heard that.
We'll segue into that game in a little bit.
No.
Let's start with number 10 Auburn at LSU. Who y'all got?
Oh God. LSU is they're so mad they got that ass beat by Troy. I feel like they're gonna come back strong. Hand it to the old Tigers. Tiger on Tiger action here.
They're gonna be mad after losing to Troy and being like completely and totally destroyed on Twitter.
Yeah.
If I was them, I wouldn't even get on Twitter like till I win a national championship again.
You get dunked on a couple times on Twitter, you'll just do like that was why Napoleon took over like all of Europe. Somebody dunked on him in the revolutionary press. He was like, "Oh hell no!" They called him short, shit like that. He was like, "I'll show you."
Yeah, well,
History jokes.
you know what? I'm going with War Eagle. The only reason I'm doing that is because I was listening to the Cover 2 podcast. Shout out them. They said that people at Auburn were trolling him because he said, "Yeah, War Eagle played good today," and they were like, "Oh, that's not our name. We're the Tigers."
How many people though do you think like make that mistake?
I think a lot, but I mean, he was just doing it because it gets annoying saying like Tigers played well whenever there's like 3 Tigers. But long story short, I'm going the LSU Tigers. They're still mad, and they played good against Florida, who, let me just say, UT couldn't beat. So this is the game of 2 teams that could beat UT, but the Tigers are going to win. So that brings us to the Georgia Tech at number 11 Miami game, which didn't go so well the first time that we tried it. But I'll give you a second chance. Who you got in this, Savannah?
Who you think I got?
Jaw Tech.
The U.
Jaw Tech. Da you.
Who you
I
got?
don't know if you guys saw the video or not, where the Miami player had like tackled someone and his leg was like up his chest. So he like pretended it was a guitar and was like playing his leg in the middle of the game. It's the hardest thing I've ever
I've
seen.
seen that like people quote it and be like, "Look, I don't know if they're even any good or not, but the U is back." So yeah, I mean, it seems like Miami's playing with attitude. So anytime Miami plays with attitude, historically they do pretty well. So I'll take Miami in this one.
That's like low key my third favorite. Well, actually, I'd almost put them above Tennessee at this point. But
Damn, this is a hot take.
they're on up there on my list of favorite teams. So I'm
Ryan,
excited
who
for
you
them to
got?
be having a good season.
I'm going Georgia Tech, honestly.
Oh,
That triple threat,
damn.
that
Okay, think about
triple option is insane.
Look.
All right?
I want
It can beat anybody. any
Okay,
day.
think about this though. Georgia Tech, and I know they almost did, but they couldn't beat Tennessee.
Oh,
I know it came down to the wire, but if you can't beat Tennessee, I don't know if you can beat Miami right now.
I think it's postponed. I just looked it up on ESPN.
No, they're playing on Saturday. It was supposed to be a Thursday game, and they postponed it to Saturday.
It still just says postponed on here, so I didn't know when they.
Well, maybe it
I mean, if
is.
the internet says it.
If not, if it's postponed, then no one's winning.
Miami still wins.
Yeah, I'll take Mother Nature by 3, dude.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
All right. So, speaking of UT, which has been a constant discussion, we got number 12 Oklahoma at unranked UT, Austin, University of Texas, and the Red River rivalry. Who y'all got?
I mean, Oklahoma did get upset last week, so they're not bulletproof or anything. You know what? I'm gonna pick Texas. I'm gonna be controversial and say that the second best UT will get a win. I really don't know if they're not the first best. I mean,
I was
they're
about to say
garbage, but so are we.
they're both pretty
Yeah.
garbage.
Well, I'm a TCU fan, but hook 'em because I can't stand Baker Mayfield. If y'all have listened to the previous podcast, y'all might already know that, but he's a clown. So.
I'm just gonna go.
go ahead.
I'm gonna go logical here and say Oklahoma's gonna win. I don't think Texas will even put up a fight.
So, all right, let me go ahead. What did you think of Baker Mayfield, like, before the Iowa State thing, but, like, when he planted the flag in, who was it, Baylor, or?
Ohio State.
Oh, was it? Okay, when
Yeah.
they beat Ohio State and he, like, planted it in the middle of the field. I thought that was kind of hard.
No,
That's so hard.
I hate him.
That was kind of hard.
He's been trying to do this savage stuff all year, but
There's no way to be more disrespectful than to plant your flag in the
Yeah.
middle of someone else's field.
I kind of liked it,
I don't know.
honestly.
It might have been more disrespectful when before the game against Baylor when he was like saying, "I'm your daddy, and you're gonna need a spanking" or something like that to the players. It's like that's disrespectful.
There's a lot going on there. Like, why are you? Yeah.
And then the game was close, and the crowd was chanting, "Who's your daddy?" to
Ooh.
Baker Mayfield. But Baker ended up winning. All right, so we're gonna keep on going with this strands of UT.
Ooh.
UT for Utah at number 13 USC. It's our weekly game.
You know, we always got to pull on those Trojans. So, guys, look, there's literally no sex joke you can make about the Utes, but, you know, the Trojans, they're not very good at pulling out because if you pull out, you're not going to have a very good D game, and you'll just, you'll tear halfway through, and you know your defense will get impregnated by the offense.
I'm gonna cut you off right there.
Stretch.
I'm gonna cut you off right there. I think we've already had the cringeworthy moments in our cold open, so I can't even make a weird joke. I'm just gonna go with USC on this one, straight up.
Straight up picking USC. Utah literally has played like nobody. They played Stanford and Arizona. Either of those were like, both of them were unranked.
Guys, this game is going to be the Trojans' magnum. Wait for it. Opus. Okay.
Oh, okay.
They're going to win 69-0.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking
We're 12 years old.
69-14. Anyway.
Oh, that was lame. I thought I was going somewhere.
I know, it's
I was
like,
like, okay.
yeah.
Had to build up the expectations and then just drop the ball. Anyway, so speaking of our cold open, Let's talk about Eminem versus Trump. Y'all shocked there hasn't been a tweet?
I am.
A little bit, yeah.
Because I feel like he tweets constantly. I have him muted on Twitter, so I don't see the tweets. But every once in a while, I'll just go, like, look at his page just to see what's up with it.
Mm-hmm.
It might be one of the best follows that I have is following Trump, honestly.
Do
Because
you really follow Trump?
I'm really thinking about, like, unironically following him. Like,
what
because,
better way to, like, learn about everything that goes on than seeing, like, who he's roasting?
Yeah. I am... Now, I did see a video surface that was, like, Donald Trump, like a couple years ago, saying that Eminem was a winner and all this kind of stuff. It was like at an MTV thing before Trump was running for president. And he was like, believe me, I know a winner when I see one, and Eminem is a winner, okay? Believe me. And, like, I was like, that's interesting. Now they're feuding.
I ain't even know why, though. I mean, was Eminem's roast even that hard? Like,
Okay, a lot of people thought it was, but it was really kind of lame. Like, it was, but I think the worst reaction was, like, when, like, all of the, like, alt-right people were, like, mentioning him, like, trying to rap in his mentions, and I'm like, as corny as that Eminem diss track was, the like, cheesehead alt-right guys were by far the worst. Like, it was horrible. So, I don't know.
What's your take, Savannah?
Like I said, it was hard, okay? Eminem toasted him, okay? I've never heard someone scream so loudly that they hate Donald Trump.
He said, we respect our troops, but we hate Donald Trump!
No, he said we effing hate. They just bleeped it out.
That was like the hardest part, honestly. But I did think it was kind of funny, like after he roasts Trump, like he just goes into, we respect our military. I thought he was really about to be like, and we stand for the flag.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, all jokes aside, can you imagine maybe driving in that parking garage that he was in and just seeing everyone just up there
There's
like...
like 50...
They're like other people just staring at him.
There's like 50 people in the background just like...
Yeah.
Yep.
They looked thoroughly unimpressed, though. Did you notice that in the
Like,
video?
they would show clips and they would just be like, not even head bobbing or anything. What would they head bob to? There's no music.
Yeah, it was just like solemn stares. I don't know. I think like Eminem's brain just like melted for a second, and he was like, "Look, y'all remember that movie I did like 20 years ago, where I rapped against other people in a contest?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, 8 Mile." He's like, "Yeah, you remember that scene where I said, it, I go a cappella. What if I said, it, I go a cappella, but again, this time?" And, like, nobody can really say anything to Eminem because, like, he's one of the, like, best lyricists in rap history. So everybody was just kind of like,
you do you. Like, you've been around for way longer than any of us have, so...
like, okay, but it might be kind of weird. He's like, nah, man. And they're like, okay, man.
So, it kind of stresses me out that Eminem's acting like a social warrior now, like standing up for like injustices when he's been like crazy as hell in the past.
His whole rap career was like him just getting on the mic and being like, yeah, I raped a girl in a closet and I hate my mother and I burned people alive and then I went and shot 20 people at a McDonald's so I could shit on the Pope.
Like literally listen to Kim. Like that whole song is just like literally the story of him murdering his wife. Like his fantasy of murdering his wife.
Which, like, this isn't to support Donald Trump or anything, or, like, to defend Donald Trump, because, like, if rappers want to shit on him, I'm more than okay with that. But, like, I just thought it was cheesy, and I think it is kind of a good point that, like, Eminem, of all people, is, like, the leader of the resistance. Like, come on. Like,
but does it help justify the left side that it's a white guy rather than if it was, say, Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne wouldn't have done it, but...
Well, that's, like, that was kind of an interesting thing. Do you know who Keith Olbermann is?
Yeah.
Well, like, Keith Olbermann had this tweet, and he, like, quoted Eminem's tweet where he posted the video. And Keith Olbermann said, after 27 years of not being sure about rap, Eminem has sold me. And I'm like, Okay, so it wasn't like, any of the other,
I was about to say, well, first of all, Eminem's been around for nearly 27 years, literally.
So you didn't like Eminem when he was...
he's only been around for 17 years.
I'm like, so it wasn't Eminem when he was dropping his, best music. It wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't,
Joke. What?
Hold up.
What?
It wasn't NWA, it wasn't Biggie, it wasn't Tupac, it wasn't any of these people who, talked about society and politics. It was the white guy that's been washed up for probably 10 years talking about Trump. That's what got it.
First of all, Rap God was fired. Everybody went crazy about that, and that was within the last 5 years.
It was one song, and it had one good verse.
Hey.
I'm sorry, Eminem's been kind of irrelevant for 10 years.
No, he has not.
He has not been at all.
What? Okay.
I'll listen to Shade 45. Well, not anymore because I don't have Sirius XM plugged in them.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What was when was I'm Not Afraid? That was 2000 and...
Probably 2012.
We were in middle school.
So 5 years. I'll give him 5 years.
I thought it was before 2012.
Anyway, my point is that that's what got you into rap.
And not Lil Uzi Vert, who
exactly.
I love.
The poet of our time, Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah.
Get the heck out of here, Keith Olbermann.
And I mean, since in the past couple of weeks, starting with Cam Newton, we've been noticing these things about facial hair. What exactly was on Eminem's face? It was kind of creepy.
You can barely
looking.
recognize him with a beard.
Yeah,
really.
He did have kind of the 5 o'clock shadow, which was weird because he doesn't really do that.
No.
He's been doing it recently, maybe the past year. Every appearance I've seen him in, he's had just stubble.
Yeah, but that's just, I'm not used to it.
Yeah, because he spent 15 years of his career clean shaved.
Mm-hmm.
So
and with bleach blonde hair.
Yeah.
With bleach blonde hair, so I don't even I was like, that's not even like Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
He's got brown hair and a brown beard now for some reason.
But hey, he's leading the resistance.
It's a midlife crisis that he went back to his normal hair.
Oh my god, guys! I just realized this is gonna happen. Because we live in GOL, but this is gonna happen. Because y'all know how Kid Rock is running for Senate. It's gonna be Kid Rock versus Eminem for the Michigan Senate seat.
I literally did not know Kid Rock was running.
That's gonna happen. And because we live in the shittiest timeline possible, Kid Rock is gonna win by 20 points.
I thought they were buddies, honestly, because I'm pretty sure in that Rap God music video, Kid Rock is in there. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because they were both from Detroit.
Maybe they put politics aside
and put up the video. Had to have been it.
So all right. Well,
I will say he stands for the flag, and you know who's not going to be standing for the flag? The United States men's national team after losing in the World Cup qualifier. They're not going to represent our country.
I kind of was expecting a Trump tweet about this, wow, so sad. Out of our great nation, this is the best we could do. And you know what? I would have retweeted it, unironically. Hell yeah, brother, I'll vote for you next time.
What happened? Okay, I hadn't really kept up with it. I had my ESPN notifications on for them, but hadn't really followed what was going on with the U.S. team. So what in the world is going on?
So, if anybody doesn't know, the U.S. men's national soccer team was put out of contention for the World Cup last night when they lost to Trinidad and Tobago, if I'm remembering correctly. So
how the heck?
Yeah, it was really embarrassing. And I mean, I've seen several pretty good takes about it. Colin Cowherd had said that basically kind of the same thing that I just said. Out of a nation of 300 million, you can't tell me that a nation who dominates every single sport at the Olympics nearly can't produce a winning soccer team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's always kind of messed with me. Our women's team obviously has dominated, but that's because.
That's because all the way around the world.
I was about to say, in a lot of countries, they don't even have a women's soccer team, so their women are extremely oppressed.
Right.
But still, we have great athletes on our women's team.
Oh yeah.
But our men's team, I mean, they're good athletes, but they're not. I don't think that they're the best in the country. Surely, out of all the residents in the United States, there got to be better players out there.
Well, and here's the thing, and the reason that this happens and keeps happening to the men's team is that in the U.S. we have this pay-for-play system in the youth and high school level, like, that prevents most of the best athletes. Because, let's be honest, like, a lot of the time, the best athletes are some of the poorest. And that's why you see your best athletes playing basketball or football or baseball, because it doesn't cost a whole lot to play those sports. And like, any kid can take a basketball into a court, or any kid can play high school or middle school football basically free of charge. Mm-hmm. Whereas with soccer, if you want to really be good,
you have to do travel.
You have to play travel, which is,
you don't high school. You don't get noticed. Like,
no, which is and travel is often. And Savannah, you can probably speak to this more. Like, it's ungodly expensive.
It is incredibly expensive. Like, I had a couple of teams invite me to play travel ball with them. Yeah. And, I considered it and considered trying to pursue a college soccer career. But, like, the cost that it would take for me to get on this travel team and play for them for, 2 or 3 years that they would have been finishing out my high school career. And then, even if I got a scholarship, most scholarships take you to a private college where you're still going to be paying $15,000 a semester or something.
Right.
So really, you have to be rich to get into it. Like, you have to be.
And that cuts off like a major source of good athletes because in other countries, in like Brazil or Argentina or Spain, like, they don't do that. Like, the best players will play because they have the sort of the infrastructure to have a system like that. And until the U.S. does something like that, until we can fix our system from the ground level, from the youth level up, we're going to keep seeing this happen. We're not just going to get lucky and have a team full of Christian Pulisic's anytime soon. So,
and I'm just going to throw another theory at you. I think that, you always hear people saying, the time is now because of the rise of soccer fans. Yeah, there's a lot more soccer fans now, but I don't think that a lot of the soccer fans completely know the game, and they're just out there like either playing it themselves, not knowing the complete rules or strategies, or their kids are not learning anything in the youth leagues. So I think it does start with the youth leagues, and I don't think it's being trained in the right way.
I used to ref the U6 soccer, so it's 4 and 5 year olds. Obviously it was pretty basic, but like, I had a coach yell at me one time. A ball went out of bounds. Like, the team that was on offense kicked it out of bounds. So I said, goal kick. Obviously the defense is going to kick that. And the coach was like, "Are you not going to tell us which team is getting the goal kick?" I was like, that was the coach. Didn't know very, very basic rules of how soccer worked.
And and then that's sort of. But Ryan, like, to your point about the World Cup. And you mentioned like the rise of soccer fans in the U.S. A big driver of like the U.S. Support for soccer came from the last World Cup, because the U.S. was in it, and because so many people were like captivated by it, and we had so many close games and exciting games. You have to think about this, like a whole nother generation potentially of soccer fans we're not even going to have because the U.S. isn't playing. So, if you're just an average guy who doesn't really care about soccer, maybe some of your friends do, like, you're not going to get excited if they drag you to a Buffalo Wild Wings to watch, like, Russia play Bosnia, or like, you're just not going to care. I'm sorry. So we're going to miss out on basically an entire generation of fans just because our men's team couldn't do like the most basic goal for a major country, which is qualify for the World Cup. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't even be a goal. That should just be like a
given.
It should be a prerequisite.
Especially considering who all's in CONCACAF is like, it's not that good.
Our competition is trash. And I might add, like, who do we have to play? Like Mexico?
Mexico, but I'm pretty sure they're always in a different division. It's like a lock as well.
So we don't even really have to worry about Mexico. I mean, and that's not to discount Mexico. They have a pretty good team, but yeah, it's frustrating, and like especially, and it's even more, I think, annoying because the World Cup recently has, I think, added more teams to that are eligible. Like, the number of teams that can be eligible has increased, and we still didn't make it. So it's a very frustrating time if you're a U.S. soccer fan, and if you are a U.S. soccer fan, you just kind of have to hunker down and stick with it. We don't want to lose support or see a decline. So stick with it, stick through it. That's all you
Good
can really
news
say.
is we have a MLS stadium that is about to be built in Nashville.
Yeah, there's still a lot of like forward progress that is still happening, regardless of the World Cup.
That's another issue. MLS players don't get paid that much. Like, they just don't.
Yeah, and
as compared to, like, MLB or the NFL or NHL, any of those professional.
But I mean, if you look at it, I mean, you can make that argument of we're nowhere near a Premier League for soccer. So I think they're getting paid about what they should, honestly.
And another factor to that is the fact that our even going back into the fact that the U.S. is such a weird country. This is why we don't have premier talent. Our pro league isn't a promotion relegation league. Like, there's no punishment if you're a shitty team. That you're not going to move down a league in prestige. You just you suck, and that's it.
And I think it says a lot when the games that are on Saturdays are European games, and like you can't find an MLS game on the TV. Like, if you're just an average person, you're watching La Liga or the English Premier League, or I mean even sometimes League One in France, and that's might even be a worse league than the MLS, except for Paris Saint-Germain.
PSG represent, but like, yeah, I mean if it wasn't for Fox Sports 1, you would never see an MLS game on.
Huh.
I mean you would have to get you'd have to use your phone basically to get access to it. So, yeah, the state of U.S. soccer is kind of sad. But we do have some good some of the players on our U20 team. They're pretty good. So we at least have some solid talent coming up. But the question is, what do you do with it? And the way that Bruce Arena, the new head coach after Klinsmann, the way he kind of fumbled this team away, their talent away, and our shot at the World Cup away. Obviously, I don't think he stays. So the question is, who replaces him and how does he deal with the talent? So
I used to play the FIFA Street game all the time. Where you play I could play indoor soccer 5-on-5. I always played with the United States just so I could have Tim Howard, and I don't know why, but on that game, he would literally make every save. The rest of my players sucked, but he would save every single shot. So
and that's true.
Realistic. Yep.
Yeah, I mean we're literally wasting. I mean, probably not one of the best goalkeepers in the world, but he's probably top 50. I would say. I mean, we're wasting a top 50 goalkeeper in the world on a complete garbage team.
I don't even think he plays for him. Doesn't Guzan play for him?
Yes, but I think Tim Howard was with the team for this. But that's kind of another point. We completely wasted the best part of his career. So anyway, I guess we'll go ahead and move on. What else you got, Ryan?
So what do y'all think about all of the pop culture foods the Szechuan sauce or however you pronounce it?
Oh,
and I just now saw that if any of y'all watched Rugrats, Reptar bars are about to be a thing. So do y'all think that this is a good thing, or do you think that it's just people trying too hard and
I really think it's just people trying to act like they're cultured. You know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, I watch Rick and Morty, and there's no need for you to be this intense about some sauce.
So if I don't know if anybody who listens to this will be familiar with it, but there's this podcast I listen to called Chapo Trap House, and it's kind of a political comedy mix podcast, and they had a really good point that and not to get too far out there on this, but this is sort of the consequence of late stage capitalism, where the effects of capital and the market don't have anything to offer you as a young 20-something. So what do you rely on? You rely on these cheesy callbacks to things that you remember, oh yeah, Szechuan sauce from Mulan. I saw it. I watched Mulan, and oh yeah, I also watched Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And then like you just mentioned, Ryan, the Rugrats thing, but that's the thing. It's just this cheap, commoditized garbage that doesn't mean anything. It's not healthcare. It's not an end to war or anything like that. That's tangible and will actually help people. But because that's really the only thing that the free market and late stage capitalism can offer you, you just kind of eat it up, and that's what you got. So it's kind of disappointing that like we supposedly live in like the greatest country in the world, and the market here is amazing, and we have everything we need. And as an outgrowth of that, we spend all our time talking about basically sweet and sour sauce with a different name on the internet.
Kind of what I'm thinking about this is, it's honestly kind of like a Happy Meal toy or something like that. Like, that's what it reminds me of as a kid. Like, you would always want it just because, like, it's what's cool.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't do you any tangible good.
Would anyone have wanted it if they hadn't said, "Oh yeah, we're out here like making this"?
No.
Like it's just a good that people. It's basically a draw to get people to come in and buy their stuff when it's really probably not that much of a cost for the company. Like,
look, it's buy one get one for the price of two, man. It's a deal. So. Yeah, the Szechuan sauce thing is kind of annoying. That's kind of bugging me. So, what else y'all got?
So, apparently Pizza Hut, I don't know, I think they came up with some shoes maybe like a month or two ago.
Shoes?
Yes, Pizza Hut like basketball shoes, okay?
Yeah.
Like high top basketball shoes.
What you
So
got?
now-
I got those salad bar threes, dog.
So now they've got the pizza parka. It's made from the same material as their delivery pouches, so you can stay warm this winter. It's like a coat that's made from the material of like the bags that they carry their pizzas in.
this literally goes with what we was just talking about. Did anyone ask for this?
This is literally like the result of late stage capitalism, where like food companies they realize that like they can't just keep force feeding people their shitty pizzas. Like, their only option now, somebody literally was at a board meeting, they're just like, shit, guys, I don't know, like, what should we do? And, like, this guy who was probably just blackout drunk was like, I don't know, what if we made clothes? And everybody, like, because we're in this situation with our culture and our society, everybody in the room, like, rather than just laughing them out of the room and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? They were like, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot, man. Pizza parkas coming to a store near you.
I don't even like pizza, so I'm not gonna buy it. But
so now I can order a pizza and buy a coat, and I can carry my pizza with me, and me and my pizza will stay warm. It's important. I'm copping.
I'm sad.
Thank you, Pizza Hut.
I'm not copping. I'm just sad.
Pizza Hut saved my life from hypothermia.
Pizza Hut, more like pizza butt. Am I right?
Okay.
Send tweet.
Last thing. Apparently, Diddy wants to buy the NFL. Not a team. He wants to buy the entire league.
That sounds feasible.
I think Diddy would make a much better commissioner than Roger Goodell, to be frank.
I honestly think it's...
He literally was like tweeting.
I mean, why couldn't you, though, realistically?
I think it's kind of laughable whenever all the commissioners in every league, whenever they walk out to give the first draft pick, everyone boos them.
Yeah.
Like,
nobody would boo Diddy.
the guy could literally be like, I just saved a cat from a tree, and like the grandma that wanted it like gave me a hug and baked me cookies, and it'd be like, oh really?
Boo.
Boo.
Like Jesus,
Tell us the food.
Yeah, Jesus himself could walk out onto the stage and be like, the first pick, and everybody be like, boo, get off the stage, make the players stand. Like,
Jesus Mills, this can't be done.
So,
I'm switching.
yeah.
apparently, he wants to like redo the NFL too. Like,
What?
not redo it, but a league where you can be yourself and have a retirement plan. So he thinks that players should have a retirement. How do you? If you're making millions, surely to God you can put some of that in a savings account.
See, that's the thing that I like. Whenever I hear and it happens a lot, but I just don't understand how all these guys go broke. Because I heard a statistic that like nearly 50% of the guys that are in the NFL or any pro league is gonna be broke by the time that they're like within 5 or 10 years after they retire. And I just don't understand how are you gonna be broke?
Yeah. Did you see that documentary about that?
No, I haven't watched it.
There's actually a really good, I think it's 30 for 30 documentary called Broke, and it's talking about the same thing you're talking about, how like players will just get out here and just spend reckless and just like buy stupid things that they don't need.
They get so used to having all that money, but like,
and a lot of it is because they're not used to it, and they don't really know what to do with it. So first you got to buy your mom a car, you got to buy yourself a car, and then you're like, well, I don't know, this dude wants me to invest in his food chain or his pizza parkas or whatever. So like whatever, and they just make bad like business choices, and they don't really have someone to sit them down and be like, look, here's how you should
I was
invest
about to
your money.
say, I feel like if you're up there making a lot of money, you should hire yourself someone to like help you manage it.
Mm-hmm.
It's even if you're not making millions, if you're making $500,000 a year doing something, not playing a professional sport,
You can
but
afford an accountant, like
you can afford an accountant to like help you manage that, like set yourself up a retirement plan and stuff.
How much I buy my mom a crib with an account?
yo.
Just let her live in your house, though.
Yeah, I mean, I did see this thing that was, it wasn't talking about football or anything, but it was talking about if you win the lottery, like what you should do, and that was like one of the things. First of all, hire an accountant and hire a lawyer, and
I
then
saw that.
yeah, and then second of all, only make one-time payments or donations to your family. Like, don't let your third uncle twice removed come up and be like, "Hey man, I need $20." Just be like, "I'm sorry." Like, put it in a will, and basically be like, after I die.
Then that's how you get murdered.
Yeah, but and that was another thing. Is like before you do that, you need to move somewhere and like not tell anybody. Like move somewhere discreet and like.
Good thing I can just stay in good old hometown Carthage.
By now, and everybody knows. You ruined that.
I'll go to South
It
Carthage.
could be Carthage. There's only one South Carthage, but there's a Carthage, Tennessee, and a Carthage, Texas. So
Well, since you just said
Yep.
the first one, there's a theory in psychology that if someone says, "Hey, do you want Wendy's or Burger King?" the person asking really wants Wendy's because they said it first.
But even if it's not, I'm sending my hitters to both Carthage now.
that's true.
You messed up.
I'll
So
hire a
all right,
bodyguard.
but like I really do have a question about this like Diddy thing. Who would he go see about buying the NFL?
How do you go about
Hey, yo,
buying the
Roger.
NFL?
Yeah, like who do you make the check out to? Because the NFL is like owned by the stockholders, right? Like,
Dude, how baller would it be if he cashed the check? If he wrote like, "Oh yeah, I'm sending this to the NFL,"
yeah,
like in a bold move of like paying for it. And since he bought it, he can just cash the check and put it back.
that is a power move. That's like, have you guys ever seen which Batman? I think it's the one with the Joker, the Dark Knight, with its.
All the Batmans?
No. The Dark Knight series, but it's the second movie. I think it's just called like Dark Knight Rises or something like that. Anyway, there's a scene in it where Bruce Wayne goes out and just starts trying to live lavish, and he's in a hotel and he's just acting a fool. Like he's like pissing in the water fountain or something, just some bullshit, like some rich billionaire bullshit. And like a waiter or somebody comes up to him, he's like, "Sir, I'm sorry, you cannot do that." And Bruce Wayne just hands him a check. He's like, "Yeah, well, I'm buying this hotel now." it's like that's not how anything works. Like that's P Diddy. He just knocks on like Roger Goodell's mansion door or something. He's like,
What if
I'm
Trump
buying
and
that.
Diddy got in a big in a big auction
No.
debate? Like, oh, they will kneel. No, they're standing, and they just keep on chunking money.
I would say Diddy was like, he even tweeted something about like they should have the right to kneel if they want to.
Said Trump would like straight up nationalize the NFL if it meant that he could win a petty vindictive victory over P Diddy on Twitter.
Teams in every 50 states.
Yeah, and they'll all stand. It'll be amazing. Like
It's like this ruins the sport because like, what do you do in California at that time? Like, nope, we're moving them all.
Yeah, we're gonna disperse.
How
all
cool would it be to have like a team from every state?
That would be
though?
horrible. That would be awful.
He didn't get to go to like
That's what I'm saying. What
Fargo,
about like Alaska
Yeah,
or Hawaii?
Yeah, you're not gonna get any, like you said, like North
Sioux
Dakota.
Falls, South Dakota. Like, who's
Let's
going?
go Alaska ice storms. Hell yeah, baby. Alaska's bigger than like the interior of the United States.
Hawaii could be cool
That would be cool.
because who wouldn't want to go play football for Hawaii?
Well, if you think about it, there's downsides to it because you've got to travel, and it actually puts you at a disadvantage whenever you have to travel a long ways away.
Oh, that's like the college team, Hawaii. Like they have,
Yeah.
I think they have permission to schedule like 13 games. Actually, it's like I don't know what that has to do with anything, but we'll have to fact check that. But I'm pretty sure that's true. Anyway, but yeah, Diddy, we support you, man. Buy the NFL.
Do it, just
Alright.
buy the whole thing.
So y'all cool with foregoing our rant since we had that dope cold open?
Yeah, we went a
Yeah.
little bit long anyway too, so that's all right.
All right. Well,
So, guys, y'all got anything else? Any last comments?
I don't have anything other than PodBoi Out.